Changi Airport is one of the main Asia gateways to the very world that we live in. It has 4 terminals and about 2 runways. But to understand Changi, you must understand it way back in the 70s. During the 1970s, Singapore has established itself as a changing powerhouse. It changed from what is now known as 60s Philippines to a great powerhouse that looked exactly like America. And if the cities change, the airports change. For years, Paya Lebar has been the main airport of Singapore, but it is falling behind as new rival hub airports around Southeast Asia were being planned and put into motion, such as Narita, Jakarta, and even in its old-time neighbor Kuala Lumpur. And also the fact was that it only had one runway, had an inadequate space, and also had the one runway could not be expanded in any way. So it was decided that they would make a new airport, but where to put it? They looked everywhere and they still couldn't find it. Then they got an idea. Why not? Why not just not build an airport in a new location, but reclaim land from the ocean? Hong Kong did multiple times with the airport, Kai Tak Airport, and so it was decided, we'll make an airport out of reclaimed land. For those of you who don't know, land reclamation is basically this. Pretend it is a piece of dirt. It's in the ocean, then it's down there. So what do? You vacuum it up and then you just throw it in whenever you want. By 1979, the groundwork had been finished and it was time to construct the terminal building. Changi's first terminal building would be in an H shape and with 20 to 30 gates. It also has some boarding bridges which was never implemented in any of Singapore's former airports. It will be far from an airport but an entire village, as the airport is very special from other airports being made at the time. So the airport was planned to have many parks and fountains, just like what Changi is today. And so by 1980, the building was half done. Yes, there was one problem after this was completed. Moving all the dang equipment! Cut. The problem was that Paya Lebar and Changi were really far apart, so on the 29th of June, they started moving all the equipment from old Paya Lebar to new Changi. And it was going to be a quick one. Some toll roads were closed, some highways were closed, and heck, why not all the highways are closed? Until by the 30th of June, almost all the equipment in Paya Lebar was empty and all moved to Changi. Then on the 30th of June, it was closing time for Paya Lebar. As some of the flights leave, all passengers get in or out of the country. Then, in midnight, between 30th of June to 1st of July, the last flight to ever take off from Old Paya Lebar Airport was Malaysia Airlines System flight MH602 737-200 from Singapore's Paya Lebar Older Airport to Kuala Lumpur Subang Airport. Then, finally, at night, it was time for closing. Paya Lebar has served Singapore for between 30 to 20 years, and it was time to close. Good news is Paya Lebar will serve as a military airport from now on, and it is still now a military airport. On the morning of 1st of July 1981, Singapore Airlines flight SQ-101 from Kuala Lumpur Subang Airport to Changi Airport arrived at the new Singapore Airport using a Boeing 737-200 Advance. And when the airplane landed, it was horrifying. It was amazing. Passengers all got a VIP access, and that VIP access was used to explore the new and wonderful airport. And then, on the same day, another Singapore Airlines took off for Kuala Lumpur, this time a 747, arriving the first departure of an international flight using the big boy that is the 747. Ow! By the end of the decade, Changi has handled about 12.1 million people, 200,000 tons of cargo, and around 63,000 aircraft movements. The first terminal was refurbished in the mid-80s to accommodate the new 90s style. On 22nd November 1990, Terminal 2 opened and many airlines moved there, including Singapore Airlines and SilkAir. Yet still, planners were making a third terminal, even though Changi had so much space and so much time that it didn't even need a third terminal at this point. In 1999, construction began on the new Terminal 3 of Singapore. But then it was halted in the mid-2000s because of the SARS outbreak. Yup, blah, blah. Like what we're having now. This joke is really sarcastic and not meant for purposes that you don't understand. Oh, other than that, it's actually really doing great. And on January 2008, the new Terminal 3 opened to the public, as well as an LCC terminal for the growing low-cost carrier presence in the Asian region. On 2012, it was announced that the LCC terminal of Singapore was to be demolished and destroyed to make way for the new Terminal 4. Construction began for Terminal 4 in 2013, and on the 31st of October 2017, Terminal 4 opened to many low-cost carriers such as AirAsia, Vietnam Airlines, and Vietjet. With that out of the way, let's talk about terminals. Terminal 1 opened in 1981 and has approximately 29 aerial bridges and 16 remote stands. The terminal also has the most airlines operating from it due to the fact that it's the first terminal and mostly used. Airlines operating from here include China Southern, Indonesia AirAsia, Jetstar, Japan Airlines, JAL, KLM, and Finnair as some examples. It is also, like I said, in an H shape. And it's the oldest of all the terminals. It has been refurbished not once, but many times, and in 2019 was expanded to accommodate more airlines. Terminal 2 opened in 1990 and has approximately 35 aero bridges and 11 remote stands. This terminal is very infamous as it is the busiest of all the terminals in Changi, serving 28 million people and serving most of Singapore Airlines' flights. Airlines serving from here include Malaysia Airlines, Scoot Air, Singapore Airlines, and Silk Air. Terminal 3 opened in 2008 and serves many airlines that I know. It serves 24 million people, has around 28 aero bridges and 15 remote stands. Serves airlines as the likes of another Singapore Airlines flight, Garuda Indonesia, China Southern, China Airlines, Asian Airlines, and Sri Lankan Airlines. The former low-cost carrier terminal one time opened in 2008 and one time served 7 million people. It had 10 remote gates and only served like AirAsia and a bunch of other low-cost carriers. Closed in 2012 to make way for the new Terminal 4. And finally, Terminal 4, the prime new terminal of this airport. It opened in 2017 and now has 25 air bridges and, first of all, no remote stands! Oh my god! This is unsanitary! Oh yeah, by the way, it serves 60 million passengers and serves AirAsia, Vietnam Airlines, and Cathay Pacific. Changi Airport currently serves around 68 million passengers. That's way more than our airports. And it's not only good with the pilots, but good with passengers, and it is known as the most exotic and beautiful airport. Well, if you want to know how they got it, well, Changi started this trend of making airports beautiful with Terminal 1, with, like I said, adding fountains and parks and butterfly gardens, but they were really small. Then they started picking the pace up with these fancy stuff in the 2000s with the opening of Terminal 3, and Terminal 3 added these butterfly gardens and many others. Then in 2012, Changi added the kinetic rain movements to Terminal 1 to make it more beautiful, and finally during 2017 to 2018, Changi Jewel opened as the primary mall of Changi Airport. And with that, we must now know that Changi is an important member of this societal convention. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to subscribe, hit that like button, and not go to Changi because it's quarantined. I am so good with these jokes! Yeah! Oh, crud.